Alrighty, so Steel City Interactive just dropped this video. Just literally got the notification for it. It is an Undisputed Boxing update titled Undisputed Development Update Health and Damage Balancing. Of course, Undisputed Boxing is scheduled to be released, the official game, October 11th of 2024. Excited about that. Really cool to... It'll be nice to see all the changes they're making, how it actually affects the game. Probably going to replay career mode as well. So really looking forward to that. But in the meantime, though, let's watch this video and let's see what they are talking about. This video is under 3 minutes long. So we're going to watch the whole entire thing. And then we're going to go through it again point by point. And I'll give you guys my thoughts. So let's do it.
Hey everyone, I'm Ash Habib, CEO of Steel City Interactive. Welcome back to another Undisputed development update. In our previous update, we shared our overall goal of gameplay balancing, which is to make it viable for players to fight in a variety of styles that are authentic to the sport and to the fighters in our roster, and how some of the stamina changes we've made to the game will enable us to do that. In this update, we're going to talk through some of the health and damage balancing and how the changes we're working on help achieve that overarching goal.
Health and damage balancing.
Early access, players told us, and data showed, that winning fights by KO was much more about progressive damage and clean combinations, and less about perfectly timed counter shot, which has meant that some of those more devastating punches on the roster haven't felt as consequential as we'd like. To that end, we've increased the damage dealt by power punches, and we've also increased the damage dealt by a punch being a counter punch. So, if you're able to catch your opponent slacking and land a clean power punch with the likes of Deontay Wilder or Frank Bruno, your opponent will definitely feel it.
Boom!
While we've increased counterpunch damage, we've also reduced the counter window, meaning your punches have to be even more well-timed to score that perfect counterpunch. So read your opponent and time your shots well if you want to maximize damage. It's not all about the big hitters though. Like we said, we want to ensure that choosing high output fight styles and fighters like Joe Calzaghe are viable ways to compete in Undisputed. We've introduced directional damage, which means that forward moving punches now do more damage than backwards moving punches.
Nice. Look at that. Look at that leap in.
Hitters, but it's also great for pressure fighters that can build up that long-term damage by fighting on the front foot, and we feel this balances out the pros and cons of both fighting on your front foot and your back foot. Additionally, we've increased the speed of health regeneration for short-term head and body health, while increasing the damage dealt to maximum head and body health. The goal here is to ensure that players and AI can have those high-pace, high-action rounds without them leading to an excessive number of knockdowns, but also ensure that doing so repeatedly and successfully throughout a fight will take its toll in the long run.
Okay. Nice. All right. So, very interesting. First things first. I mean, we talked about this before. The speed of these punches being increased definitely makes things feel and look a lot more fluid, which is normal, right? When something has even a little bit of a flaw in it, it's very easy to see that flaw when it happens in a very slow manner. But if you speed things up, even if it has some flaws in it, right? It can be covered with the speed. You're going to see a lot less. So I'm very glad that a lot of these punches seem to be sped up. They have a lot more oomph to them, you know? I really like it. But let's go through this point by point. There were some interesting things that they said right there.
Hey everyone, I'm Ash Habib, CEO of Steel City Interactive. Welcome back to another Undisputed development update. In our previous update, we shared our overall goal of gameplay balancing, which is to make...
So right there he says a previous update, which means that I must have missed an update. My bad. I'm supposed to keep you guys in the loop with what's going on, but I definitely missed an update somehow. Sorry about that. We're probably going to have to go back and look at what that update was. But let's
Make it
continue.
viable for players to fight in a variety of styles that are authentic to the sport and to the fighters in our roster, and how some of the stamina changes we've made to the game will enable us to do that. In this
Stamina.
update, we're going to talk through some of the health and damage balancing and how the changes we're working on help achieve that overarching goal. Throughout early access, players told us, and data showed, that winning fights by KO was much more about progressive damage and clean combinations and less about perfectly timed counter shot, which has meant that some of those more devastating punches on the roster haven't felt as consequential as we'd like. To that end, we've increased the damage dealt by power punches, and we've also increased the damage dealt by a punch being a counter punch. So if you're able to catch your opponent slacking and land a clean power punch with the likes of Deontay Wilder or Frank Bruno, your opponent will definitely feel it.
So yes, this is definitely something that we noticed during early access. And again, this goes back to the fact that Undisputed Boxing does not have a vulnerability system. Now, I understand a vulnerability system is a very, very complex system, very difficult to implement. And if they didn't build a game from the ground up with a vulnerability system in mind, it's very difficult to go in now and try to add a vulnerability system. So I completely get it if we're not going to get a vulnerability system for this particular version of Undisputed. But moving forward, I definitely think it's something that they need to add to the game from day one, because what they're trying to do right now, which is, improve the damage you do with power punches and improve the damage that counter punches do, you're not going to get it to where you need without a vulnerability system. They'll have to keep tweaking it, because again, different counter punches result in different types of damage, and different counter windows also result in different types of damage. What a vulnerability system will cover for all of that, because regardless of what you're doing, the point of the vulnerability system is no matter what you're doing as a boxer, you're putting yourself at different levels of vulnerability. There's certain actions that you will take where you are at the highest point of vulnerability. And then there's certain actions that you will take where the vulnerability is just very, very little, right? Like if you're moving around, right? You're vulnerable, right? But if you're moving your head, let's say you're moving your head and the opponent is throwing a left hook at the same exact direction your head is moving. Well, the vulnerability on that is going to be high because you're moving your head into the punch. Or let's say that you're throwing a big shot. Let's say you're trying to throw a freaking overhand shot. You're throwing your whole entire body into it. The overhand is forcing your head to go down. And in that exact same moment, your opponent is throwing an uppercut. And the uppercut connects on your face as you're winging that overhand. That is probably going to be one of the highest vulnerability moments that you're going to have. And the way the vulnerability system will work is as you're performing actions, it's spiking up and down. It's spiking up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. And if you get caught when that spike is at the highest, then that's when you start to get knockouts. It's when you start to get like critical drops where you can finally finish the fight. So it's going to be so difficult to build a boxing game and make the counter punches actually feel potent where it makes sense without that vulnerability system underneath in place. That said, though, again, really, really happy that they've increased the power of power punches. I wonder if they've increased power overall or if they just increased power of just the power punches. And if that is the case, have they done anything to speed up those power punches? Because, man, in Undisputed, the power punches are ridiculously slow. The wind-up takes forever. It's very easy to get out of, especially now that they've also reduced the counter window, which I am all for. I'm good with that. The counter window in high-level boxing is very small. It's ridiculously small. These guys are so good. They barely leave openings, so I'm all for reducing the counter window. But if you reduce the counter window and you've only increased the power of power punches, then perhaps speeding up the power punches will be a good idea. But, again, we'll see how that all plays out when we get our hands on the game.
While we've increased counterpunch damage, we've also reduced the counter window, meaning your punches have to be even more well-timed to to score that perfect counterpunch. So read your opponent and time your shots well if you want to maximize damage.
Yeah, I'm noticing a brand new animation right here, guys. Are you guys noticing this forward moving cross animation?
It's not all
Hold on.
And time your
right there. That's brand new. That's brand new.
Punch. So read your opponent and time your
boom. That is a brand new animation, boy. That forward movement, that is brand new. That was not in the game. That was not in the version that I played. So kudos to you guys. Are you serious? We love new animations here.
If you want to maximize damage. It's not all about the big hitters though. Like we said, we want to ensure that choosing high output fight styles and fighters like Kazagi or viable
that cross is nice. Yo, that cross is nice. Yo, why is my internet slow? What the hell's going on right now?
We want to ensure that choosing high output fight styles and fighters
like
Joe Kazagi are viable ways to compete in Undisputed. We've introduced directional damage, which means that forward moving punches now do more damage than
boom
moving punches.
I love that cross.
This is great.
All right, so they've increased the power of forward moving punches. So it's now going to do more damage than backwards moving punches. Again, these are things that a vulnerability system would have handled on its own, right? Because you just program into it. All right, what actions will spike the vulnerability? What actions will spike it? This should also mean, by the way, if they had a vulnerability system, what this would also mean is while you yourself are leaping in to throw that big shot, even if I'm backing up and I intercept you as you're running into my shot, the vulnerability spike on that should be high. So yes, if you hit me while you're moving forward, yes, you're throwing with more power. You're throwing your body into it. You're definitely throwing with more power. But am I also going to be getting that vulnerability spike? Am I going to be hurting you if while you're trying to do that, I time you perfectly and I fucking intercept you with a shot? Even if I'm retreating, if I intercept you with a shot as you're lunging forward to hit me and I catch you before you hit me, that should do more damage to you because you're lunging into my punch. You see what I'm saying? So without a vulnerability system, they would have to literally one by one increase the power of every single possible scenario that you will find yourself in, which is why it's so important to have a vulnerability system in the game like this.
For the big hitters, but it's also great for pressure fighters that can build up that long-term damage by fighting on the front foot. And we feel this balances out the pros and cons of both fighting on your front foot and your back foot. Additionally, we've increased the speed of health regeneration for short-term head and body health, while increasing the damage dealt to maximum head and body health. The goal here is to ensure that players and AI can have those high-pace, high-action rounds without them leading to an excessive number of knockdowns, but also ensure that doing so repeatedly and successfully throughout a fight will take its toll in the long run.
So for this last point, and then we'll be done, I'm probably gonna have to give this one a little bit more thought. So what they're trying to do here is they're trying to prevent a situation like UFC 5 where you're having opponents get knocked down over and over and over and over again. But then it's like in a boxing match, isn't there like a 3 knockdown rule or something like that? I know it doesn't apply to every single fight, but I know that's supposed to be a thing where if you get knocked down 3 times in a round, the referee calls off the fight. But even if that wasn't a rule, because of the nature of boxing, because you don't have to go down there and actually finish the fight, and because we have a mini game right here, I don't really think it should matter too much, you know, if you're getting knocked down multiple times. I just think the severity of the knockdowns should increase as you get knocked down, right? Because personally speaking, man, I like when I'm fighting, when I'm boxing somebody and I'm landing clean shots. I like getting rocks. I like getting knockdowns, right? The problem is like when the knockdown does not lead to a finish, then it becomes a little bit obnoxious. But I don't know how I feel about we're going to get less knockdowns because every time you get hurt, you recover really quickly, because that's what they're doing. They're increasing how quickly you recover when you get hurt to the head and to the body as well. So so as to prevent you getting knocked down too many times. I'm not sure about that. You guys give me your thoughts on that in the comment section below, and let's just discuss it. Definitely when it comes to the body as well, because I know for a fact that you recover a lot slower when you've been hurt to the body. Like, getting hurt to the body lingers way, 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 way longer than when you get rocked in the head. Like, you can get dazed and like, you know, get your equilibrium back, you know, clear the cobwebs back a lot quicker. But like body shots, the same as leg kicks, man, it stays with you the whole entire time, bro. I don't know if you've ever been fucking stabbed in the body, but bro, it's not something that, oh, I'm hurt, I'm fine now. Like, body shots linger. They stay for a long, long, long time. They sap your energy. They fucking sap your stamina. They affect your fucking footwork. They affect how you hold your hands. I mean, it affects goddamn everything. So I don't know if I'm with body shots also recovering as quickly as headshots. I'm not sure about that. But again, you guys, we can discuss that in the comment section below. Give me your thoughts on that. But man, overall, I'm happy for these changes. Kudos to Steel City Interactive for continuing to update this game. Very much looking forward to October 11th when the official game drops and we get our hands on it. And man, really, really hoping that it's a much better game than the last time I played it. So thank you for watching. I'm going to leave a link to this video in the description below if you want to go watch it, leave a comment, whatever. Follow Undisputed Boxing, subscribe to them. And I'm going to check out the previous update later. Again, sorry I missed that one. And I'll see you boys later. Peace out. Have a good one.